Okay, let's get started. Today I want to talk to you about the PCB Artist Library creation tutorial. And let's see here. Here is PCB Artist. I brought that up earlier. There's two ways you can get to it, maybe more. You can go to the help, go to tutorials, part creation tutorial is one way. Another way is to basically bring up your library manager, and then you can hit the part creation tutorial there. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's bring it up through the part creation. Okay, let's make it bigger. Okay, so let's just skim through it real quick. In the contents here, you see that basically the first part, chapter 1, is just basically talking about the different files and libraries, the overview. Part 2, we're actually going in and creating a schematic symbol. Part 3, we're creating a PCB symbol. And in part 4, we're taking those two symbols, combining them together to create a component. I'll let you read through this part here, some basic information for understanding how this works. But let me talk about this figure right here. What you see here is that there's SSL files, PSL files, and CML files. And there's some other files too that they don't talk about here. The SSL file is schematic symbol library. So this is where the symbol is defined. The PSL is the PCB symbol library, and this is where the footprint or the PCB symbol is defined. These two files together are combined in a component library file. And components can either be put into the schematic editor where you're creating a schematic for your circuit, or they can be used to create the footprint and do all the traces and everything in your PCB editor. So notice you have to be a component to either be used in the PCB or in the schematic. You can't just take an SSL file and go into there, and you can't just take a PSL file. You have to have a component. Now, a component can have just an SS file and no PSL file and be used just in the schematic. It can have a PCB symbol library but no schematic and be used only in the PCB editor. Okay? Or it can have both and it can be used in both. Also, the CML file can have multiple PCB symbols. Remember, we had a layout for pin and hole, and we also had a layout for surface mount. And it may be possible for you to have another schematic. I haven't played with that before, but it wouldn't surprise me if you could. Here they're talking about the library manager, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so here's chapter 2, and this is to go in and create a schematic symbol. So this is where we want to start. So I'm going to leave this document here and just go into PCB Artist and go from there. I have printed out a copy of this tutorial, and hopefully you have too. If not, hopefully you have 2 monitors, and so you can put this on one monitor and you can be working in PCB Artist on the other, or you can split the screen, however it works for you. But for this tutorial, I'm going to basically be reading off of it. I have a copy in my hand. Okay, here we go. We're in the library manager, and we just clicked on this to get the library manager. You got the different PCB symbols, components, folders. Folders will tell you where everything's saved, and you notice it's in the users, public, document, PCB Artist Library for my PC, and it's probably the same for yours. So let's go back here to schematic symbols, because that's what we want to do. Okay, now it's got tutorial here because I put it in there earlier. So what do we need to do? Well, I'm on page 10, and what does it tell us to do? Well, it tells us that we want to create a new library to put our schematic symbol in. So let's go in and do new library, and let's type in tutorial, and then hit save, and it's going to say it's already there because I already did this one time before. Click yes to replace. Now notice there's nothing inside this library. We can have a whole bunch of different ones here, but we're just going to put one in this library for today. So what do we do now? Well, it looks like we go in and we click on new item. So let's click on new item. Now look at this grid. Let's go here and look at the grids, and what it says is that we have a working grid of 50 mils, so between every two dots there's 50 mils. And if we go to screen grid, then it basically says well, it's same as the working, 50 mils. Okay, that's fine. So if we go back to here, there's one thing we want to do. There's something called snap mode. Now you guys that have done any CAD before, you know that when you're moving around and you can snap to a grid, and what that means is you're moving a component and you get close and you want to snap it to the nearest grid point. And so we want to go where it snaps between points. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here, and so that I have a lot of room to play with, is I'm going to say that it can snap to 1/10 of a grid. Okay, and let's click apply, and then OK. Now the question is this the grid here between is this 50 mils from here to there? And the way you can find out, it's really tricky, and I've gotten confused a couple of times before in the past, is go in and kind of do the mouse wheel, and you'll see that these are just major grids, but you can see the little grids here, right? And so each one of these is 50. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So from here to here is 10, or from here to here is 50. So what we want to do is let's open this up, and let's go in and see what they want us to do now. Okay, so the next page says that we're going to create an op-amp shape. This is the triangle shape. Okay, so notice over here we have some different shapes. We got a closed shape, an open shape. We have a rectangle. We have a circle. We have a square. And we have a triangle. And then we have just the shape single line. Now, on the tutorial, this is an older tutorial, and they haven't updated it, but it's still pretty much the same. It's just some of the names are a little different. Okay, so we're going to add, it looks like they're adding the closed shape. So let's go in and click on that. And what we want to do is we want to go and pick a point somewhere here, and we want to go down 500 mils down. So we've got 50 mils for each one of these. Right, so 50 mils, and so we want to go down 10 of these. Right. All right, so let's do it. So let's go from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that would be 10 times 50 is 500 mils. Now we right click, or not right click, left click. And when you left click, what it does is it anchors that point right there. And then what do they want us to do? Well, they want us to right click in segment mode, and we want to go to free. Now that enables to do this, and now what we want to do now is we want to go over 500 mils more. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, once you get there, you right click again, and what we want to do is we want to finish it. And so okay, that was left click that we clicked there. Right click, we go to finish here. All right, so there we go. And we got an S up here. Wow, that's good. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So what do we want to do now? Let's see. So we've got our shape there. Okay. Now they give us a little diversion. They're saying, okay, well, what if you didn't do a triangle shape? What if you did a shape kind of like a AND gate or an OR gate? So here's what we do. We go over here and do a shape rectangle. So let's go down, and we don't care about the scale, we're just learning how to use it. So I'm going to do this, okay, and then right click. Well, I don't have to do a finish for this, okay, and so I'm going to hit escape just to make sure that it's stopped drawing. Now what I need to do is I select this, and then I go right click on the mouse, I go to arc, I go to 180 degrees, and there I am. And then I just left clicked here and hit escape again, and so what I now have is this. Now sometimes this arc will go on the inside here, and the first time I did it, that's what it did. So that's not a problem, because all you have to do is you just right click, and basically if you go to arc, there's something called flip arc, and that will cause it to go the correct way. So this time we were lucky, everything worked okay, and so that's how you could do an AND gate. I guess an OR gate would have it kind of curved in, right? If I remember right. Okay, so let's select this and delete it. We don't need it anymore. We can come back to where we're at. Now, just like we did in other designs and stuff, you can always click this to center it, okay? And so now let's go in and let's do some lines. And let's see, so we need to go in and do about 100 mils, they said. So let's see, this is 50, 100, about here. So let's go from here to here. So I'm just left clicking, and then let's go down to here, about 50. I can hardly see the dots. Good. And I'm going to do one in the middle too. Okay. And let's do another one over here and do that there. Okay. And then I'm just going to hit escape so that everything's okay. Now, let's see. What does he have you talk about? Okay, he's not really talking about much of anything here. There's an S up there, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Oh, he talks about that is the symbol origin. Okay, S is on the vertical segment. And let's see, what do we want to do? Let's go to the next line. And so we're going to add some pins. And so the way we add pins is click on this. Now notice that when you add pins, it's going to start at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Or actually it'd be 4 here. So when you're doing this, kind of remember how you're doing this, and if you got a different shape, you might want to start clicking first on the pin that you want to be pin 1. So we don't care here, so we're just going to click 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, and then we hit escape, and so there we go. We've got our different pins. Now we're gonna go in and move these around a little bit. I hit escape, and let's move the 1. That's not too bad. And then let's do the name here. Let's kind of move this over here. And let's do the 2. And I've noticed sometimes on some of the models that they didn't really spend any time trying to clean up things. They just kind of, I guess they were in a hurry doing the models, and they look really sloppy, but we're not going to do that. And then we go to here. Okay. And 4, let's put that here. And, you know, actually, I think we want to put this probably in here. Okay. And you know what? I don't think I went down far enough, but that's okay. Don't make the same mistake as I did. Okay, and let's pull these down a little bit because we're doing some writing here. Go over. Okay, now I got more room here. Okay, there we are. Now, let's see what he's got to say here. Let's see. Escape, click A to position. Fit down. Okay, so we're in pretty good shape, this sort of thing. Alright, so let's look on page 17, information on the pins. And it says here that the big cross marking the shape and location of the pin is the X on each one of these, okay? We got the pin numbers, we got the pin name, so these are the pin numbers, and then these are the pin names. Okay. Goes on, says some more stuff, and it says the symbol origin character, which is right here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this right here. Okay, so it says that the symbol is on pin 1 if this pin is the first item added to the symbol. The pin numbers are automatically numbered, so on and so on. It says the symbol origin is the symbol's reference point when moving it in the schematic. So when you move this, this is the thing that's gonna anchor. Okay, think of this as the anchor. Like this is the boat, and you throw the anchor out. Well, this is gonna be the anchor. So this is called the symbol origin. All right, and typically it's on pin 1 of your component. Okay. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Okay, so it talks about moving your pin names, and we've already done that. Okay, changing the text alignment. Okay, now these are placeholders for the names, okay? And so whatever name we give it will start moving this way, and by default it's going from left to right. And so what we want to do is we want to basically go in and make sure that when these placeholders are replaced with the actual pin name, that everything's still justified. So what we're going to do is right click on this, and we're going to go in and we're going to click on, let's see here, properties, and we see alignment is left, okay, And so that is okay for this, right? And it's okay for this. If we go to properties and go to alignment is left, okay, and the same thing for this one, properties, alignment to the left. But over here, if we have left alignment, that means when we have a longer name, it's going to write out this way. We'd rather it back out this way. And so what we're going to do is basically go to here, go to properties, and this time we're going to go right alignment. Now you notice there's a center too. Sometimes the center makes sense, but here what we want is we want a right alignment. Okay, and you see it's already doing that. So what we can do is move this into here, and so when we write the pin, it'll go out this way so it doesn't cross over. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. Okay, now there's another thing that we need to add, and that is called the reference origin. So without a reference origin, the component name using schematic will automatically be placed on the symbol origin. So let's go in and let's add one. We don't have one here. So what we need to do is we go to select reference origin from the add menu, and so here we go reference origin, and we're going to go in and put it down here. Now this is where it goes in and says like op amp 1 2 3 4 5 or whatever, and we're going to put it here where it's got plenty of room to actually do everything. And actually, you know what, I think I'm going to move this number up and let's put the reference origin here. Now let's go in and check the properties of this, and this is left origin, left alignment also, so that's good. Okay, and notice that these are all the things that it's clicked to show: the reference name, the component name, the package name, the symbol name, values, and stuff like that. So if we have any of those things there, it will actually show that text oriented from here. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. So I think we can just basically go ahead and save this. So let's do that. Let's go to File, Save, and then the library's going to tutorial, and let's see, does it tell us what to save it as? Okay, now it tells you to save it as op amp, but op amp is going to cause some problems because there's already an op amp named simple name, and so it's going to pull that one out, and that one don't look anything like the one we just created. And when I first did this a couple years ago, or a long time ago, I forget how long it was. It was a long time ago. Is basically it was screwing with my head. It's like, what the heck's going on here? That's not the symbol I created. So anyway, then I finally realized, okay, well, I can't call it op amp. I need to call it something else. So we're going to call this op amp underscore 1. So OP AMP underscore 1 is what we're going to call it, and we're going to click OK. All right. So far, okay. And let's see, is there anything else we want to do? Well, we can do what? We can just go ahead and close it. So let's go ahead and close this. So go over to here and click X, and let's bring this back up. It's schematic, it's op amp. So notice there's only one symbol here. There could be a whole bunch. And so let's click op amp, and there it is. Now notice it doesn't show the numbers or anything yet, but we can have it later on to show that, and we can actually do that in the schematic if we want to. But so far we're done. So we have our schematic symbol here. It's called op amp 1, and it's in the tutorial library. Okay, so that's all fun, And you know what? It's been 24 minutes that I've been talking, so I'm going to stop because I don't want one big file. I want a bunch of little files. So let's close it right here. And let me just say, stay tuned for the next one. I'll be back.